on vehicle accident. And the units arrived on the scene with 3 vehicles and an 18-wheeler involved. 18-wheeler was hauling sawn lumber, and the 18-wheeler was well involved, had struck the bridge, which where the location was, created a little bit of an issue on the extinguishing of the fire, but they continued to rescue the patients that were in the area. Everybody had extricated from the vehicles prior to our arrival. So at that point, we predominantly focused on the fire protection side of it, and there was a rapid knockdown of the fire itself. The only damage that we have seen was the bridge itself. Have any questions?
Injuries from any of the patients that latest?
We transported 2 people by our medic units to the hospital. The injuries were moderate lacerations, nothing life-threatening though.
In a wreck like that, can you just talk about how the pictures are pretty amazing, that survivors of that situation?
Yes, sir. We were impressed, I should say, that the injuries were no worse than they were based off of the normal situation we run into in incidents like that. There were a lot of things at play that really saved the lives of those citizens that were involved in that incident.
Do we know a cause of the crash?
That would be under investigation. Fire department would not be involved in that at this time.
How long did it take you to?
Approximately 30 minutes for 10-11. That doesn't mean the fire was completely out. That meant that within 30 minutes we had it under control, the victims were rescued, and the fire was under control. But because of the situation with the diesel fuel, the tires, the lumber that was burning, and some of the fire burning underneath, there would have still been some time that they would have had to work to get into those tight areas to extinguish the minor flames that were still in play.
No fire medics or fire personnel injured?
No injuries on fire personnel at all. Thank you.
Chief Albert, now only left me to do all the questions at the end. That work for everybody?
Good afternoon. The city of Montgomery is filled with a lot of events going on in and around our city, and we have many, many more events coming this weekend and in the very near future. So this traffic collision will definitely impact the traffic flow, so we're here to update everyone on the status. This morning at 7:24 a.m., a traffic accident was called into our 911 center at I-85 and South Lawrence Street. Montgomery Police was dispatched and found an 18-wheeler crashed into the southbound side pillar of Perry Street overpass over the I-85. That 18-wheeler was ablaze. The driver, Eldon Abram, was able to exit the vehicle with only minor injuries, but was brought over to Jackson Hospital by Montgomery Fire Rescue as a precaution. The 18-wheeler was completely burned and destroyed in a fire accident. The impact from that 18-wheeler, coupled with the intense heat from the fire, caused major damage to South Perry Street Bridge and its support, causing the closure of the southbound highway and the overhead bridge. There were 3 other vehicles involved in the collision at that time, and that, as we just said, that there were minor injuries as a result of those individuals in those vehicles. I-85 was shut down at Union Street exit, and all traffic has been diverted to South Street East, where they may re-enter I-85 corridor. The Alabama Department of Transportation, Alabama Law Enforcement Agency, Montgomery Fire Rescue, Emergency Management, and the Montgomery Police Department are all working together for the safety of the public and to get traffic in its normal flow as soon as possible. This team behind me will work together and will continue to update the public as we're able to. We'll take questions at the end.
Hi, I'm Brantley Kirk with Department of Transportation. At approximately 8:30 this morning, ALDOT crew was able to begin assessing the damage to the bridge. We do know that the cap and the column were obviously damaged by pictures that have been seen around, and we continue to assess that damage to the full extent of the structure. We do have a detour on place onto Eastern Boulevard as crews continue to assess the damage to the South Perry Street Bridge. We are working to modify that detour right now for passenger vehicles. Truck traffic will continue to be on the Eastern Boulevard detour. Once we have that finalized, we will push that out through media and through the ALDOT Southeast Region Twitter page. Right now, our focus is on to repairing the bridge. We do have contractors on site to begin emergency repairs as identified as we finalize permanent plans for repairs. We do ask that nobody or vehicle goes onto the South Perry Street Bridge. So that bridge is closed and will remain closed completely to all pedestrian and vehicle traffic until final repairs can be made. That's all I have right now. Questions, Leah?
Brantley, any guesstimation on how long it will take to assess to see, 'cause as the chief alluded to, holiday before us, that kind of thing, just what kind of guesses to how long to assess?
Our crews have been on site since even before they were able to get out there to truly assess it. So we're hoping that a full assessment can be done by the end of today and that emergency repairs can go ahead and start. Like I said, we already have contractors there. So as long as they are able to mobilize and start emergency repairs, we hope to start those as soon as possible. Our main goal obviously is to have a safe bridge, but also to open up I-85 to traffic, even if it is just a couple of lanes.
So you mentioned that there would possibly be temporary repairs. Could you go into details about what that might entail?
Well, right now we do know, like I said, that the cap and the column are bent. I mean, that's been pretty evident in some pictures. So emergency repairs would be to make sure that the bridge is safe so that traffic can be underneath the South Perry Street, and also to make it to where people can get out there and crews can make those permanent repairs. But we can't do that until we have a full assessment, which is what they're doing now.
Any idea what they may do to make it stable for people?
I don't have all that. They're still finalizing those plans, so I don't have anything that I could exactly tell you what the engineers have planned, because they're still out there making those plans like right now. So they're working as quickly and safely as they can.
Do you know if that section of the interstate will stay closed until the bridge is fixed?
The plan is to open it up as soon as possible so that they can make repairs to the bridge during maybe a lane closure instead of having a full closure. But again, nothing can be finalized until that assessment is complete.
Really, when they do that, just pedestrian and driver safety, I mean, it will be as safe as possible, I mean, correct?
Correct.
So
We will not open up a bridge or the road at all until it is deemed safe for all users.
And I know that everyone has alluded that this is a huge weekend for Montgomery. Are
Yes.
there plan Bs, especially for people trying to get to Alabama State for the Classic or downtown for concerts?
That's why we're in the process of modifying that detour. Instead of having all traffic detour on Eastern Boulevard, we're trying to modify it to where just the truck traffic is doing that. We want to modify it to where passenger traffic has a much shorter detour if we have to keep 85 closed that long.
Chief, you mentioned this at the top, and this is for all of you. This is a huge effort. This is a big accident, and as we noted, this is in a very vital area of traffic going through Montgomery, but also through the state if you look at it. Is this the right time for all of the folks on stage and everyone else to come together to get this done, to work together? Because also too, it's in that part of the year where it's hurricane season. People may have to evacuate, and sometimes that path may come through Montgomery. Is it a good time for everyone? And please, if anyone else has anything to chime in on, please do, to work together to get this problem solved.
Like I said, that team that's standing behind me, we've communicated from the beginning, from the onset of this issue, and we'll continue to communicate and do all we can to get this thing cleared up and to get traffic flowing again. But make no mistake, Montgomery is open. All of the events that we have scheduled will take place. Working along with Aaliyah, we will ensure that the traffic detours are in place and working, and we'll modify as needed. And when we modify, we'll notify the public. But we want everybody to know Montgomery is open. Come enjoy the events that we have set for not only now, but through the weekend. And we'll work very hard with the state and all entities to make sure that we get this back up and running again as safely as possible, as soon as possible.
Is there any danger for collapse? I mean, when you look at it, it looks scary because it's not something you see every day. but it, you know, there may be enough holding it up to just assure people that it's not gonna fall down.
You know, we have to have our experts come in and do an assessment, and that's what you just heard just now from AlDOT. They're gonna have the experts come in and give a good assessment, and they'll make the final call on what's safe and what's not. So, again, this team is very capable. The team of professionals behind me will make sure that the public's safe, and we'll get it open as soon as possible.
You gave the
Yeah, the driver of the 18-wheeler ELDON ABR,
Is he a Montgomery resident?
I don't know.
What about the northbound traffic, in terms of, maybe that's an AlDOT question, just as far as the northbound traffic, you know, right now, in that area, how do things look?
There are no plans to shut down I-85 northbound. All lanes have and still remain open.
Just as a precaution and a note, we have reached out to Montgomery Public School System to make sure that they are aware of some potential rerouting. We've also communicated with Haynes and any other ambulance companies in Montgomery so that they can reroute to make sure to get to not only to our first responders, but to our community.
So just, and you probably can already covered this, but is there any way to know how long the bridge repair will take and how quickly the interstate, or at least one lane, will be reopened?
We won't know that until we have the full assessment done. Once we have plans for what repairs need to be made and how they need to be made, then we'll have a better idea of how long it will take. And like I said, our main focus is to get it open as quickly but as safely as possible. As soon as we have that information, I will be pushing it out through media and, like I said, through our AlDOT Southeast Region Twitter page.
And Brantley, can you confirm that AlDOT will be the main kind of point of contact moving forward for this kind of multi-agency focus?
Correct, for anything with the bridge and with traffic detours will be the main contact. But we will work closely with MPD and with Aaliyah.
Speaking of working with MPD, Fire Rescue, Aaliyah, do you anticipate any change in your jobs with this accident now, and how quickly you can respond to things, or how you have to maybe adjust to what you do?
We all know how to traverse the city, whether it be police, fire, or EMS, or anyone. We know how to traverse the city, and given the impact and the gravity of the situation, we'll do what we can to get to those calls as safely and as soon as we can. So we don't anticipate that slowing us down because we're very familiar with navigating the city.
Brantley, just kind of unrelated, but kind of on the same side, the outer loop project, does this put a little more focus on maybe looking at that in terms of, because that was, you know, it got halfway done basically, so the city has grown so much, is that something that's still on AlDOT's plate, or where does that stand these days in terms of that project?
That would be a discussion with AlDOT front office.
And just one last question for either of the law enforcement. When we were out there earlier, we saw a lot of pedestrians just coming by and walking and, you know, looking. Is there any message you would like to give to people?
Great question. So for the onlookers or pedestrians that just want to come out and see, the best way to get your information is through the media. We're going to ask that you not only see what the media is posting, but we have a very robust social media that we'll continue to update. Stay away from the area. It's not safe. It's unsafe. And, you know, there's no need to come out and just to get a picture too. Just pay attention to what the media is releasing and what our social media posts from the PD and Aaliyah are doing. That's the best way to get your information rather than coming out to the scene. Yes?
How will this affect South and Arbor Streets, which is the service roads?
Yeah, that's something that we're gonna continue to look at. We're gonna continue to look at the traffic, how best to move traffic as quickly as possible. Like I said, we are looking at modifying the detour. We can only sign detours on state routes usually, so that is, if there's a change in that detour, I will definitely be sending that
Are
out.
they currently closed at this point?
South and Arbor are not closed. South Perry is closed and I-85 South is closed.
Any idea, volume-wise, how much traffic passes through that juncture every day?
That is something I would have to look up, and I don't have that in front of me right now. But I will be happy to get it to you later.
101,414.
How much?
101,414
There you go.
according to AlDOT.
Yeah, you do have access to it on our website, so